have the floor to share your story. And yeah, we'll go from there. First up is Elizabeth.
Good evening. Before I begin, I want to offer a gentle content note. I will be speaking about family separation, substance abuse, and childhood trauma. Please take care of yourself in whatever way you may need. There are moments in life that divide everything into before and after. For me, it was August 3rd, 2022. My past and my present were standing in the same room. I want to share what that night felt like. The clock read 9, the night heavy and still. We sat at my mom's, heart against the chill. I held their hands, tried to keep them near, while ghosts of my childhood whispered fear. I'd walked this path, felt the same sharp sting, the knock at the door, the social worker's ring. A mirror of childhood, bitter and raw, the loss of my siblings, the ache that I saw. Through the hours we clung until dawn, the night stretched endless, and my chest felt drawn. And when the morning came, cruel and cold, they were separated, my hands could not hold. I saw their small faces crumble and break, the kind of hurt that no words can take. Their tiny hands reaching, searching for mine, as if love could be measured or stitched by time. The trauma echoed the life I had known, rooms of my youth where I wept alone. Each tear they shed tore a part of me, a flashback of loss I could never flee. I whispered their names, you are safe with me, though inside my own past could not let me be. And yet, through the grief, I promised to fight, to hold them in spirit through every long night. Though hearts were trembling and the day was severe, I carried their sorrow and fought back my fear. For what I had lost, I now fiercely defend, carrying my past so theirs could mend. What stays with me the most was my sister's voice that night. Can I give my daughter just one more hug? One more. I watched her hold her child, trying to memorize the weight of her while also trying to stand up herself. And I watched a little girl trying to understand why love suddenly felt like goodbye. The child who once felt powerless grew up, and now what hurt me, I softened for them. I share this because behind every separation is a family, imperfect, struggling, and human, and moments that last long after the door closes. Thank you for holding space for mine.
Oh, that's a
That was
strong
beautiful.
opener. Wow.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
sharing.
Thank you so much for being vulnerable with us and sharing. And you did an amazing job. Up next, we have Carrie. The floor is yours.
So, once upon a time, I had a great family with a mom, dad, older brothers, a great house in the country with land and a pond and fields. And the world was great, and we would play all the time. But one day, when my dad was away working, my mom packed us up and all of our stuff in the car, and she took us to a different house. She told us this is where we were going to live now. And because of that, it started a 3-year divorce battle for custody. Both of my parents, due to this divorce, began dropping me off without my brothers at different places with different people, some who I knew and some who I didn't. This continued until they thought I was old enough to find a place to stay on my own. So when I was 15, my boyfriend's mother took me in and she gave me a room of my own, and she started to teach me a lot of the life skills that I had never learned. She taught me to do laundry, she taught me to make meals, she took me to counseling, and she even taught me to drive. And ever since then, I have felt sort of called to children. I worked in preschool and charter schools. I just wanted those children to know that even though the people that are supposed to be there to give you love and guidance and direction aren't there, there are other people out there who are willing to do that and step in and help you. And I feel like doing that gives them hope. And so I want to help others, and especially the kids who don't have the parents. And that's why I chose this topic.
Excellent. Good. Great job. Thank you so much for that vulnerability is not easy, and you guys are absolutely nailing it. Thank you so much. All right. Next up in the order, we have Amber. The floor is yours.
So for this piece, I just want to give a trigger warning. It's about death and dying, and traumatic death. Nothing vulgar, but just a warning. Okay. People talk about a good death, as if goodness has anything to do with timing, preparation, or neat endings. For years, I've heard that phrase. A good death, we're told, is one that happens in a bed, clean, warm, comfortable, surrounded by love. My mother did not get that. Her name was Yvonne. I was 28 when she died. Her death was violent. It was heinous. There was no dignity, no humanity, no goodness in how her life was taken. It shattered the way I understood death to be. And I know I am not alone. So many of us carry the unspoken wish that the people we love had been allowed to die with dignity, peace, and care. So I'll rewrite her ending. I imagine her lying in bed, clean and warm, with mounds of the coziest blankets because she was always cold. Her hair slicked back, edges in place. Freckles glimmering across her face. Her lips dipped in Vaseline because her skin was never dry. Her body finally at rest from a life well lived, the hardship she carried now laid to rest. I imagine the room filled with bouquets of the most beautiful roses, red, white, burgundy, yellow, every color, because it is the living who can truly enjoy their beauty. The scent of cocoa butter from her freshly lotioned skin fills the air. Isn't She Lovely by Stevie Wonder dances through the room. Because isn't she lovely? The sound fades, overtaken by the feeling of love, from the lives she shaped and the hearts she touched. I imagine her eyes softening, meeting ours one last time. Her glance saying everything words never could. And then, together, we whisper, I love you. You can now live forever. You are free. Her soul lifts, carried through the stratosphere, launched by the power of love. She touches every star, every planet, every being. She is everywhere. This doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't rewrite the violence. It restores her humanity. Because the way someone dies does not define the worth of their life. She deserved a good death. She deserved to be loved all the way there.
I need a minute. Practicing what I preach here with the trigger warnings and being conscientious of that. Okay, that was beautiful. Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
All right. That was yeah, really, really beautiful. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing. Okay. Next up we have Ben. The floor is yours.
Okay, I did not sign a class making me cry, so but thank you everybody. It's story. It's really great. I'm trying to talking because I'm using the story I prepare in my heart for next week. We have 2 week talking to legislate, asking them to, increase the budget. So I did not write down because I just want talking from my heart, just like, a regular talking there. Um, so let me start here. Thank you, invite. Sorry. So my audience is the legislator, either senator, state senator, or assembly member, or the staff member. So usually we have a team. We're talking to them, directly. So that's my audience. So let me start here. So thank you to invite me and other people coming to your office to meet with you. We are the advocate for the company AHRC. We're asking for more budget to serving the people with development disability, and especially to raising the cost of living COLA as the 1.7 proposed by the governor raised to 2.7. I tell you why, because this is impact lots of people. So my name is Bing Fen. I'm living in Queens over 30 years. I'm a Chinese immigrant, and just like lots of immigrants coming here, we follow the pattern. Get a degree, find a job, and my life could be like everybody else, but um, we find out my life was totally upside down when we have our first child and onset diagnosed as autism. This is about 26 years ago. All the medical resource people tell you that, okay, your son maybe not talking, maybe not, go to school, maybe not to work, maybe have to all life we depending on somebody, So basically, that definition that time is autism is a life long disorder. Of course, for young, from parents, it's like a devastate. But we never give up. We try everything. Now he's 26 years old. He has been graduated from high school. He working as a janitor. He has been working over 80 years. He not only go to work every day, never miss a day of the work, and also he pays his tax. He get rid of the social, the social security there because he owns the money. He could vote. He joined lots of advocacy. He do lots of volunteer. He's a very good young man. So here is the story: is that it's not because he's very good or we are very good to make him happy. That one is because he got lots of people help. In the school, in everywhere, he got help. Especially right now, he's working as a janitor, but he got his job coach, his all staff member help him. The reason why he come here right now, he have able to keep the job is because he have a great circle of support. Many of them is working from AHRC. Okay, the AHRC is one of the largest service provider for the people with development disability. All the other provides well, and if we cannot keep them the sufficient budget, and then many people cannot working anymore. If they cannot working, if they cannot provide the support to my son, now Vincent, my son is Vincent. Vincent will go back to his day program. He cannot working. Probably he will not get working. Probably he cannot pay his tax. Probably he cannot. He have to go back to this, Social Security again. That's the result nobody wanted. So I asking the senator and to consider our request to at least raise the COLA from 1.7 to 2.7 is because that money is really important, not only for my family, it's for all the people with development disability. We help him, we help them, and they can help themselves, right? They can have a meaningful, productive life. They can pay tax, they can proud themselves, and we are very grateful that the service provided by AHRC and all other service provider, but they need your help. Okay, so remember, we are the constitute of your district there. We are very love this country. We want our children get a better life, and many of them you can help. So please help us. Later on, I can turn to the other member, family member, they can tell their story. But thank you, listen to my story. Thank you to supporting us. Thank you.
Excellent. Very good
Thank you.
job. Thank you. Okay. Up next, we have Parker.
Raising rats. For 2.5 years, I took care of two wonderful girls. Now, they weren't your everyday typical rat. Unlike typical street rats, fancy rats are domesticated so that they have a higher level of intellect along with sociability. Because of this, you can train them to use a litter box like cats do, or learn tricks like dogs can perform. They were bred to literally be your companion, maybe purposefully replacing the standard two-pet system that are cats and dogs. Anyone out? Anyone who has allergies, while rats are not completely hypoallergenic, one is less likely to be allergic to them than your everyday dog. If you enjoy dogs or their loving tendencies, rats will run up to you because they want to play. Sometimes it could be fetch, minus the return in my experience, or they may want to be chased. They express their happiness through boggling, which means they slightly pop out their eyes slightly pop out of their head rapidly. It's really freaky, but it's really cool. This is the equivalent of cats purring in a way. They can easily boggle by being cuddled up next to their owner or while exploring new enrichment. Now, maybe that's not your ideal way of bonding with a pet. There's another way. Rats can eat almost anything, so if you're a gourmand, you can share your dish with your pet with limited worries about having to eventually take them to the ER vet later on. Dietary restrictions differ between male and female rats, so if you'd like to be able to share just about every meal with them, adopting females is your best bet, since males have restrictions that could further injure them in the long haul. When I adopted my girls, I had absolutely no idea what was in store for me. I didn't anticipate them being so smart and wanting your constant attention. I did not anticipate a small hand grabbing the food literally out of your mouth mid-bite as if they were starved creatures, wanting them so badly because they love sugar. I did not anticipate how fun it could be to decorate their cage with enrichment and be so content in watching them enjoy the new stimuli. I did not anticipate how costly vet expenses could be due to them being classified as exotic pets, along with the fact that they are very prone to illness. I certainly did not anticipate the fact that after they pass, there is no other pet or animal that can bring as much personality and chaos as fancy rats may bring. That's it.
Most people go the persuasive route for this. I think you might actually be the first person to go the more informative route. Also, and you did a very good job. And I'm I've never been a big I love my pets. I've never been a big rodent guy. I'm a little convinced. Are rats on Pet Finder? Can I look that up later? Am I gonna have a pet rat? Oh my god! If I get a pet rat tomorrow, it's your fault.
You have to get at least two because they have to bond.
Noted. Okay. May hit you up on email later. I might be convinced. All right. Up next, we have Fianke.
My story is about family sacrifice and love. It's about a grandmother that took care of her grandson since he was a baby. And when he grew up, he was struggling with mental health. Some days, grandmother is so overwhelmed, and other days, she makes it through the challenges gracefully. But grandmother did not give up on his grandson. She says, I'm just living my life one day at a time. When I look at grandmother's story, I feel like we all have, or we have all gone through that stages in life that one time or the other, we have to be there for our loved ones when they are in difficult situations or going through difficult times. The grandson in question, the mom is alive, but she's not in the right frame of mind to take care of him. She's struggling with alcohol addiction. So grandma had to take over this job that, no, I love this child. I'm going to make sure this child grows up right. And she's able to cope with the challenges. That's my story.
Last but certainly not least, we have Tanya.
If I tell you that nothing happens for a purpose, it's kind of weird, crazy, spiritual connected. And all of you, like, thank you for being here and being part of this moment. Sometimes when we want to talk about our traumas or when we want to share something, sometimes we want to make it like very smooth, but we make that connection with the people. I usually like to make fun of myself because we want to face, to mask the trauma, the pain. And we like to laugh, to look for happiness. And if I tell you that everything has a purpose, even this right moment, when you were in the womb of your mother, do you remember the moment? Like when you were inside? And thank you for sharing your stories. I know some of you have very traumatic family related, but let me tell you something. To give birth to a baby, there is pain. And the vagina has to be all this way open. It's 10 centimeters. And you might say, how much is 10 centimeters? It's all this. And it's really painful. And if we're talking about trauma, we're talking about our life, it's about pain. And my question right here is like, all of us are so stressed. Some of us are here sharing our stories. Some of us are here after a long day. Did you eat for breakfast? How was your self-care? How did you took self-care about yourself? Like how did you do that? And the first person that we need to love is ourselves. We have to bring ourselves right in the moment, right in the present. Maybe we were listening to the speech, we were listening to the people, but our mind was wandering far away. We were already maybe on a trip in Hawaii. We were like doing something. We were listening. Yes, we are listening, but we have to also to bring ourselves in the present moment. And some of the stories really, it really bring me at the present moment. And I connected with a lot of you. And like I said, like I'm a very spiritual person. And I say nothing happens for, nothing, everything happens for a reason. So what I want to do right now, I want you to close your eyes. You're gonna breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and breathe out. Imagine that you are having some essence, lavender, breathe in and breathe out. Give yourself the gift to love yourself, to put yourself first. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm very thankful to be with all of you for sharing your stories. And I mean, I think it wasn't like we prepared this. It was like a line, and we ended up with this story. Like you have to be taking care of yourself as the first person. And I have this note. You need to put like little notes around yourself because we care for other people and we have empathy, but also we need to have empathy for ourselves. It's not selfish to love yourself. Take care of yourself and make yourself a priority. Look for your happiness. The pain is the same in different situations, but the love of ourselves is necessary. So take yourself that priority to take care of yourself. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Tanya is over here competing with Carrot Top in terms of how many props you can use. That was excellent. Really good use of your space, really good use of alternate materials. That was excellent. Very, very good job. Smitha, I'll give you the spotlight and the floor is yours.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Um, Trigger warning. Won't be that bad, but it's just childhood stuff. Um, so my name is Smitha. I grew up in a low-income, abusive household in Queens, New York. My parents are from India and they struggle to assimilate, and I am first generation. And they were abusive because that's how they were raised in India. That's what discipline meant. That was just what they knew. And they didn't understand that the consequences of their violence would live with me well beyond my childhood. Every day in my house was very difficult emotionally and physically for me since my parents had anger issues and they didn't know how to talk about their feelings and thought mental health was a fake concept. The situation at home during my earliest years were so bad that I felt the need to constantly mentally check out and escape. And born out of the violence, I developed into a really angry teenager since I was basically a punching bag for my parents. Ultimately, I learned to hate myself because if my own parents didn't keep me safe, I thought clearly I wasn't worth protecting. But one day, I found a political organizing group on campus. It was a student activist group, nonpartisan. That group taught me how politics worked on a basic level, on the city and state level. And through this nonpartisan political education, it came from a public interest perspective. I quickly realized how inept and disappointing our elected officials are, how selfish and greedy and racist and anti-human so many of them actually are, and it made me even more enraged. And suddenly, as I learned more about the world, I suddenly realized a lot of my upbringing made sense, actually feeling less than because my clothes and shoes had holes in them when I'd go to school, having shitty healthcare, shitty dental, watching my parents struggle so much to pay the bills, which only made their stress levels go up, which then they took out on us. Class and poverty dynamics helped shape my earlier years in a lot of ways, and that made me so angry, so angry, because not only was I wronged as a child, but I saw the world do wrong by so many good people every day, all the time. How do you operate when you realize the game is rigged and this is the world you were born into? And life became unbearable. My depression became less about my personal trauma and more about the state of the world for which I felt helpless and the state of humanity for which I had no hope for. Until finally, I was blessed to be connected with other women of color who resonated with those class dynamics that I mentioned and also worked as organizers in movement spaces. These women taught me the power of meditation. And it was really important that there were women of color because if it were coming from white women, it wasn't gonna. I mean, I'm in New York City. All the meditation and yoga spots are led by white women, and that's extremely harmful. So for it to be a BIPOC space was it for me. And these women were so spiritually engaged with their hearts. They didn't let the world harden them. And even though they worked on, a lot of you guys working on these issues that would you would think it would harden your soul a little bit. These women protected their heart and they taught me the power of meditation, the power of mindfulness, the power of journaling, and prioritizing the time to process my thoughts. They told me I needed to learn how to love the traumatized, neglected child still inside of me. They taught me that my anger could be powerful, but that it could also burn me out. They taught me that my righteous anger against the world probably had more to do with my shitty upbringing, and that I can't help the world stop burning if my own soul is on fire. So now I fight for what I believe, and I do it passionately, using my personal struggles to fuel me. But I now do it from a more centered place, a place of love, a more sustainable place. I have my boundaries and I make time for joy and laughter because operating solely off of rage is what the villains of our world want. And I'll be damned if I give them that too. Thanks, y'all.
About that. Oh my God. I mean, I knew you guys were going to do good. I didn't really have any doubts about that, but the emotions, the story structure, the color, the anecdotes, y'all are really, really good at this. You guys did amazing. Thank you so much for spending your Wednesday evenings with me the last month, and being vulnerable and also being good audience members, sharing well with each other. I'm absolutely floored. You guys are great.